Hi, here's the Vezina Trophy for the playoffs, if there was one, by Aaron Torchiner. So, I started out with a couple of good guys who might have normally won this trophy if it had existed for the playoffs. So, I started with at number 3, King Frederick Anderson. Number 2, Andrei Vasilevsky for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And the winner would have been Tuukka Rask for the Boston Bruins. And now here are explain the reasons behind picking each one of them. Frederick Anderson has been quite good this season, winning 29 games, losing 13, and losing in overtime in 7 on a middling Leafs team, and at times keeping the Leafs in playoff contention. However, the playoffs are not his best spot to shine, specifically Game 7s where he's 0-4 ever. So that's why I wouldn't put him at number 1. Andrei Vasilevsky, is playing on a great team that has regressed, but he's regressed from winning 39 games of 53 total, and his team has regressed from winning the President's Trophy and dominating any team threatening to get in their way. His personal numbers this season haven't been as good either, but if the team goes deep, he has the chance at winning the trophy. But the reason these two were pushed down, the main reason was because of Tuukka Rask. And the telling stat is that last season, Tuukka Rask played 46 games going into the playoffs, and he performed at a high level with a 2.02 goals against average and a .934 save percentage, finishing second save percentage and in goals against average, and first in saves, which is impressive considering how far he went in the playoffs. Those statistics are for the playoffs. And the first in save percentage and goals against average, if you want to know, is Robin Lehner, whose team lost in the second round. So considering the fact that he played 41 games going into the playoffs this year, I felt like he should be considered for this trophy, if not winning it. But then I went through the rest of the group of the goalies, and I saw I might have a problem. So here's what I considered after these 3. So first, Pekka Rinne. He's good, but his playoff record isn't as good recently. But still, you should respect his ability. He pushed his team to a berth in the Stanley Cup Final in 2017. Next, you got Darcy Kuemper for the Coyotes. He might win the regular season Vezina, having played 29 games, .928 save percentage, 2.22 goals against average. He's 41st in shots faced, but has exactly 8 games of playoff experience. The same goes for Jacob Markstrom for the Canucks, Carter Hart for the Philadelphia Flyers, and David Rittich for the Calgary Flames. And then you got to Carey Price. He can steal one series, but what about 5? That includes the play-in series. And Matt Murray hasn't been 100% this season, and in fact, there's a debate whether he'll even start the playoffs for the Penguins. He has a .899 save percentage, 2.87 goals against average in 38 games, while his backup, Tristan Jarry, has a .921 save percentage and 2.43 goals against average, better numbers, in 33 games. And the same debate is going on for Rinne and Devan Dubnyk for the Minnesota Wild. Braden Holtby, he could win, but his numbers this season have been great. And since I'm not going to quote them for you because of time and because I've been quoting numbers at you for most of this video. And his backup, Samsonov, actually has better numbers in 26 games, but he's not really ready yet. So Holtby has also been good in the playoffs. He had great numbers in last year's playoffs, and he won the Stanley Cup with the Washington Capitals in 2018. And Peter Mrazek is not the same from last year. And then the Rangers, they don't even know who their starting goalie is for the playoffs. You got Shesterkin, you got Lundqvist, you got Georgiev. They don't even know. So, but if one goalie starts, then maybe he can carry the team, and we just don't know. And then Connor Hellebuyck, he could win it, but only if his team really plays well in front of him, and if not, he can't pull it off on his own like he did in the regular season, basically. And those are just 10 goalies combined with the original 3 I picked. That's 13, and in total, there are 24 teams in the total playoffs. Okay, so let's slow it down. So what I did in order to fully break it down, I broke it down into 5 categories. So, the first category number 1, which you see on the left side of your screen, is the ones that have playoff experience but have not been so good this season. So that includes Pekka Rinne, Matt Murray, Peter Mrazek, Braden Holtby, Henrik Lundqvist, and maybe Sergei Bobrovsky. Not sure about him. So, and I also wasn't sure about Lundqvist because we don't even know if he's going to start this year, this playoffs. He started 26 starts this year. Last start was March 1st, and before that, February 1st. He hasn't started this small amount of games ever. He started more games as a rookie than this year. And you might be able to include Devin Dubnyk and maybe Bobrovsky. He has some playoff experience and he's not been as good this year. Alright, and the second category is going to be the guys with none or close to no playoff experience. That includes Jacob Markstrom, Darcy Kemper, David Rittich, Carter Hart, Jonas Korpisalo, and Evan Lincolns combined for 0 games of NHL playoff experience, so they definitely qualify for this category. Simon Varlamov has played in the first and second round, but has no experience past that, so I could put him in the first category or the second category when he hasn't been that good this year. And Mikko Koskinen has 0 NHL playoff experience. Then we move on to category 3. And you have, these guys could really win it if they get help. You have Carey Price for the Montreal Canadiens, Connor Hellebuyck for the Winnipeg Jets, and Corey Crawford for the Chicago Blackhawks. And Crawford has missed time this season, so I don't know how much he'll play because of concussion problems, especially with Malcolm Subban behind him. And also his team is not expected to get far. We'll get to that later. But okay, and now here are the in category 4 are the goalies that could really win it. Okay, so we've got Ben Bishop and Fleury, Marc-Andre Fleury. They've figured out how to turn it on for the playoffs. So, and specifically when you're talking about Fleury, it could be him or Robin Lehner who's backing him up in Vegas. But considering that they both would probably that they would switch on and off, it would cause them not to play enough games to win this trophy, which is fine because it means that the Knights will have a better chance to win, but it won't win them that's enough for the playoffs. And Mike Smith. So Mike Smith has been well rested and he's been playing well this season. Well, medium. But just like Vegas, it's a duo. He's been playing with Mikko Koskinen, who has 0 NHL games of playoff experience, but has been the better goalie. So, and he will need his rest. So, because he is in his late 30s. And I'm just not sure he can do it. Philip Grubauer, he's not a cup contender. His team could win the cup this year. I believe he could do it. He's had good numbers. He's had some playoff experience. Went 2 rounds deep last year. And lastly, Jordan Binnington. Well, he proved anything could be done. So last year with the Blues, he won the cup. He didn't have an awesome season, but the Blues did. So if he can be good, they can win the cup. And so that could benefit him when talking about this trophy. So I would say he's had much success, and he didn't have a terrible season, so he could win it. So now we broke it down into 4 different categories. That's great. But that still doesn't decide for us who wins the trophy, right? So final words. I broke this up even more. And I said let's divide it into more categories. So, in the end I divided it up to the most likely, which is top 3, most likely to win it. The next group, which is top 5. And then the surprise pick, which is only 1. So, for very likely, I have at number 3, Tuukka Rask, number 2, Philip Grubauer, and number 1, Ben Bishop. And as we mentioned above, Rask performed so well playing under 50 games last year. I don't think you can leave him out of the top 3 just because there are others who broke out this season. Grubauer has been a key part to Avalanche success when he's been healthy, and I know Bishop has had some health problems also, but the decision between Bishop and Grubauer came down to who could benefit more having their starting goalie in net. And I think one of the stats that proves this comes from Fox Sports, says that the Avalanche ranked 3rd in the league in goal differential, which is goals scored minus goals allowed, with 46 goals scored. So, and compared to Dallas at 16th place with 4. So, that's what I think separates Bishop from Grubauer. And that's why I think I can put Bishop in number 1, Grubauer in number 2, and Tuukka Rask at number 3. Next we've got the very good. So they're the next tier. Number 5, I have Jacob Markstrom from the Vancouver Canucks. Number 4, Pekka Rinne from the Nashville Predators. Number 3, Jordan Binnington from the St. Louis Blues. Number 2, Frederik Andersen from the Toronto Maple Leafs. Number 1, Toronto Maple Leafs. Number 1, Andrei Vasilevskiy of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then the 5 and 4 picks are opposites. I felt that each deserved to be there for their own reasons. Jacob Markstrom because he was so good this year, and Pekka Rinne because he was so good in the playoffs in past years. But starting number 3 with Jordan Binnington, he's not been having the best year of his career, which has been 2 years. But he's not been as good as last year. And so that's why I'm just not sure. I can't put him at the top 3, but I don't want to move him down. I think that he's deserving of the spot until proved otherwise. So I'm leaving Binnington at number 3. At number 2, we talked about Frederik Andersen. He's had an okay, pretty good, really good season, but he can only win the Stanley Cup. He can only win this trophy if his team improves their defense. And Vasilevskiy, I really wanted to put him in the top 3, but he hasn't made the Cup final since 2015 as a backup, where he did play some. Whereas Rask did it this year. And Grubauer and Bishop have been so good, I really felt that it should be Bishop, Grubauer, Rask, and not Bishop, Grubauer, Vasilevskiy. But if there was a number 4 spot, that would go to Vasilevskiy. And my surprise pick, Carter Hart from the Philadelphia Flyers. He's the one that stood out for me as the surprising one. A team that has been waiting for years for this guy. He comes up and it's pretty good. He's a rookie, and that's surprising that he's done well. And the Flyers are actually in the playoffs. They're in they're at a tournament, and so they are officially in the playoffs. I think he has a good chance of of making it far with his team. And 2 final notes. I want to include Carey Price in this because he's one of the best goalies of all time. Maybe recency bias, but I still believe that. I believe you probably take the next spot, the 6th spot in the next tier. That included Markstrom, Rinne, Binnington, Andersen, and Vasilevskiy. Him or Kemper, but his team's not expected to go far, especially against the Penguins in the qualifying round. And that's the 5th round. And I wanted to include also a Rangers goalie, but I don't think that this year is their year. Maybe next year, but if they can get one guy starting and they can just go with it, then I think they have a chance with this. If they can go with that goalie, they'll have a chance. So, here are the final picks. The most likely, number 3, Rask, number 2, Grubauer, and number 1, Bishop. And I really thought that was a good order. Next, we got in the next year, Jacob Markstrom, Pekka Rinne, Jordan Binnington, Frederik Andersen, and then Andrei Vasilevskiy at number 1. The surprise pick is Carter Hart. That is it for the Vezina picks. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.